With all the money made by stamp duty, does your government want you to sell your property?
Good morning, Mark.
How are you?
I'm good. We are officially the most serious real estate news channel in the country as of today.
Yep.
3 broadcasts coming in at 7:45 a.m., 8 p.m., and 7:45 a.m.
Within 24 hours, 3 lives. It's nuts.
Yeah, we take it very seriously.
And you know what? We're up to 723 episodes. Wow.
Yeah, but we haven't run out of ideas just yet. Another good topic this morning. Does your government want you to sell your property? It's an interesting one.
You know what? It's I think 20% of their revenue is through state and local taxes, and stamp duty is a big income earner for our government, and it's not going down. It's not going away.
I liked your little analogy yesterday. It's like the ticket man, clicking you in on the way out, clicking you on the way in. They seem to get you at every sort of transition you make, whether you're buying or selling.
Yep.
It's a funny one to look at, really. But before we answer the question, we're going to do a little bit of what we think, slowly builds the answer, really, because it's interesting to look at some of the incentives they give. And the incentives are pretty biased for one side.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible the amount of money they're putting to put on the table. The one I'm worried about is single parents need help. They get stuck in the rental cycle. Government program, if they've got a 2% deposit, they will help you into a property. So it's even more than a first-home buyer sitting at a 5% deposit. It's a 2% deposit. It is a fantastic idea, and I'm glad government's done something about it. The only concern I've got is what happens if we get into negative equity, i.e. what happens when your property is worth less than what you paid, very, very by 2%. Now you're in what we call negative equity.
Yeah.
That's a worry.
Yeah, and let's face it, 2% is not a lot of money. So it makes it really affordable, especially for anything entry level, wherever you are. But the market just needs to take a bit of a shift. And you'll find yourself in that situation. Pretty scary, actually.
It is, but I think we can't forget, and something that I've got to stress to everyone: this property market is long term. It always has been long term, and even though everyone's getting spooked by rate hikes, there's still low interest rates compared to what we've ever been used to. So I wouldn't freak out too much. Luke's saying stimulus and incentives help the savvy, and some first-home buyers can be savvy. It's true. Negative equity may have already started in parts of Sydney. Yep, absolutely. Even across Australia by what the RBA is saying. Back to you, Billy. Sorry.
That's an interesting point we might have to cover in another episode. Looking if there are particular suburbs that have already taken a turn.
Yeah.
More than others. But yeah, what happens in that? Sorry to cut you off. What happens in that situation when it does go into negative equity?
You just got to make sure you keep paying the mortgage. I think lending more money's off the cards. And I think from what I understand, the bank's not going to come after you, but you want to on a home loan. But you want to make sure that you are continuing paying your repayments. That's the super important thing. So get another job, work 3 times harder, whatever you got to do. Just save money. Don't because if you are selling it, you are going to be owing that money. So you just want to ride that wave. And you know what? Property, as we always spoke about, property over 10 years has always doubled. So I think in the long run, you're going to be just fine, but it's just in that short term.
Yeah. And you'd hope, before you enter into that agreement, you've got your, where you want to go, short term and long term, and it's all good. Some of the others, first home buyers incentives are one in general, whether it's single parents or, just the younger population. They're including that in the federal budget, still trying to help people get into property at a young age. Another incentive, superannuation, Mark.
Using your super to buy a property. So I guess while we're exploring today, does the government want you to sell property? We're exploring why they want you to buy property first. And there's still those great incentives. And look, another one like you just mentioned is that super. You can use your super voluntary contributions towards the purchase of another property. That's pretty incredible because the money that you're saving, you generally have to pay a huge tax rate on. Not the case if you're voluntarily contributing it to your super and you can use that for a purchase. So that's another really clever incentive. And you know what? I think the main motivation is the government is hedging a bet both ways. They really, in a way, they are sort of penalising you on the way out. You've got capital gains tax, to pay on the profits if it's an investment property. On the way in, you're getting penalised with stamp duty. So the people in the marketplace they really want to see are single, basically for one property families, singles or couples. They love, as a country, we have one of the highest rates of ownership anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world, Aussies have one of the highest rates of ownership. We love owning property. I think that's as a result of our management of our government. They've always pushed us into property. And what that also means is they're not going to be the odds are that they're not going to be having to support us when we go into retirement because we've owned a property. So it's quite clever. It promotes probably people to be a little bit better with their money, a bit more thrifty. It promotes people to be able to support themselves when they sell the family home at the end and go into retirement because there's money there. So I think we've got to be appreciative of that as well.
Do you think the market operates better when there's less turnover in property? Because you hear some stories of properties coming up for sale once in 50 years, 100 years, always been in the family. Do you think that's a good thing?
Sorry, say that again. I was just reading Luke's comments.
Do you think it's a good thing for the market when property is held onto for a long time and there's less turnover?
I think so. Look, I think it's a healthy way to to live, like staying in your property, enjoying your property, enjoying your family. I think it's quite a beautiful thing when I see an old married couple in the same home for 50 years. I can't help not to love that. And if that married couple has an investment property or two, the philosophy normally is that one is for those ones are for the kids, or the philosophy is normally we're saving a little bit of money for later, and it's supplying affordable rental accommodation for people out there. So I think I'm a big supporter of that. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's nice. It's obviously nice to see when it's always been in the family. It's like passed down almost, but it's interesting to see whether it's good for the market or not. Does the
Yeah,
market
and
does the market like turnover?
well, look, I know our government doesn't like single retirees sitting on massive blocks of land and massive homes. They like to see those big blocks of land and those big homes recycled into the young families.
Yeah,
Um, and I know there was talks of having some incentive of doing that, getting people out of the bigger homes and into the smaller properties. But
yeah,
nothing really came through. But yeah, it's interesting. It is sad when you see a 6 bedroom home and a 2,000 metre square block of land and a 92-year-old living in there having to maintain all that. It's like, you know, it's a big home for one person.
it's a heck of a lot of home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so does the government want you to sell your property? What's the answer? In short, I think
What do you reckon?
they want you to hold on to it, Mark. I think if you do sell, the tax man definitely gets his stick out and whacks you a couple of times. And if you hold on to it, yeah, they definitely give you the incentives of using the equity, using the income from it, just setting you up for later in life. I think that's their biggest objective here. That's what I'm seeing.
Yep. I think if you sell out of a property, you're pretty much guaranteed to buy it back in somewhere. So I think the government's pretty happy about you selling because they're going to get some stamp duty out of you somewhere. Um, Luke's saying transactions are good for affordability, need more stock, ownership levels are on the decline, and careful to have all your debt with one lender. Absolutely. Um, but yeah, look, I think they do. They do. Do they want you to sell? Overall, the answer would be no, but in segments, it would be yes.
Yeah,
I don't think they're supporting investment property as passionately as they used to. When they introduced negative gearing and stuff like that. I don't think that. I think they're trying to encourage people that are in oversized properties to get into something that suits them, fits them, their size.
yeah,
Um, and overall, they definitely. I guess you can answer the opposite question: do they want you to buy? Absolutely. Um, I- but I, but they don't want you to buy. I can't see a big push for investment property through the government. I know they've still got negative gearing on the table as a Liberal government. I know Labor doesn't like negative gearing. That certainly supports investors.
yeah.
But yeah, I think overall, the answer would be they don't want you to sell. I think they want to stay put, stick tight to your property, but don't be in anything more bigger than you need. We know when you're in your sort of 60s, 70s, and 80s, they really encourage to get you into either care or something smaller and leave that big home for the next young family.
It's well said, well summarized. The final question of the day: does property perform better under a certain government? Because I've been driving down Spit Road and just seeing people with flags and signposts, and it's driving me absolutely nuts. What are your thoughts?
And you know what? I've been watching those. Is that what's that? Is that Bill Shorten, the Independent, the yellow ads?
Clive, old mate Clive.
Mate, I reckon I'm not a supporter, but geez, I make it. They're pretty clever ads. Some of those ads, you just think, no, that's dumb. But some of you think, man, that's clever. Um, but for me personally, being in property, negative gearing is pretty important. Labor doesn't like it, Liberal does. And I think as an economy, as a property economy that we're in, I think we generally see it thrive a little bit better with Liberal than we do with Labor.
Okay.
So Craig Kelly, that's his name. Morning, Adma. So yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to know what everyone thinks out there on that question, Billy. Who's going to support property better? Which government is probably going to do better with? What do you reckon?
No idea. All I know is that I'm absolutely sick of the adverts on prime TV time and down the road as I'm driving through.
We've only begun.
I know. It's that time of the year again. It's like it's dreaded.
Yeah.
I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Everyone have a great day. Billy, what are you up to today?
Playing catch up. I've got a few appraisals to knock out, and we've got another couple of properties coming on. So stay tuned on that. We've got something for everyone at the moment, Mark. We're a one-stop shop.
That 650 property that we went through yesterday, I reckon that is a corker of a one better. Any friends or family of Novak, like I would jump on that property. I think it's unbelievable.
Yeah, we've got something for everyone. Family homes, investments, money makers, everything.
It's there.
It's there for the taking.
All right, legend.
Have a good day. Thanks, guys.
Bye.